Is this close enough? Am I?
Are you relaxed? You don't look it.
No.
That was so like aggressive. Are you relaxed? Well, you don't, because you don't fucking look like it.
You don't look.
It's literally so far away from you. It literally needs to be like, just do what I'm doing because I'm perfect.
I have thoughts. I'm very loud.
What could they be? Well, I turned up the gain, which means it's louder.
Can I turn down my...
Which would be... See, listen, this is how we know we're not too loud.
It's like really loud.
Oh my God.
I need to... Can you turn me down a little bit, please? That's better. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Whoo, because that was a loud son bitch. Well, I'm allowed.
There's some It's not hose, huh?
No, so... Sorry, right up in the mic.
Yes, that's the point. I'm good.
Yeah, so WAP by Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, featuring Meg Thee Stallion. I learned recently it's not at the beginning of the song when they say, there's some hoes in this house, there's some hoes in this house. They're not saying hoes in this house. They're saying whores in this house.
I'm getting PTSD from when you find out that T-Pain isn't saying, ooh wee, I'ma take you home with me.
He's saying,
it's and then. And I'm like, no, it's not, you fucking idiot. It's definitely, he's a songwriter. It's definitely ooh wee.
Or, oh, there was this whole like not controversy, but the sugar we're going down, I think, when he says, you're just a line in this song.
Mm-hmm.
Is it you're just a line in this song or you're just a line in a song? People were like,
hold on. It's hold on. It's hold on. I need to get to that part. I'm not good at just hopping in a song randomly. I need to like. How does he? Where in the song is that again? I'm just fucking blinking.
I'm just a notch in your bedpost and you're just a line in a song.
Isn't it? I think it's A.
Some people said you're just a line. You're just a line in a song, or you're just a line in this song. I thought it was this song. You're just a line in this song.
Oh, I thought it was A.
You're just a line in a song.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Okay.
What is it?
A couple years ago, there was this whole thing, and then people were debating online, and my whole life is a lie. And
I get that.
I think the
that's not even the one that's traumatized me the most.
I think the lead singer even said, like, he was like,
it's whatever.
I kind of say it both ways. Like, it doesn't really matter.
He's like, yeah, I've heard it both ways. No, the one that really fucked me up was Rihanna and Eminem, the monster, when they're like,
I've not.
That's not fair. That's not what it is. And that's not fair. Yeah, it's not that's not the fucking lyric.
What did she say?
And that's nothing. And that's nothing. No. Canceled. It is.
I need y'all to work in your enunciation, please. I say this as somebody who can't fucking talk half the time.
Me. Can you like get it together and talk better? No, literally, like that fucked me up because I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure. Like, so then I had a like crisis where I was like, you know, if I would have went to a concert somehow and they were magically singing that song and they pulled me up on stage and I would have sang it wrong. With full 100% confidence that was the lyric. And so then I was embarrassed that would have could have happened to me.
But then like you weren't, but no, like feel good knowing that you're not the only one. You're not alone.
Yeah. What would have been great is if in that magical scenario I've managed to conjure up, if like the crowd, like they sang it and for once they enunciated and she's like, that's nothing. And we go, whoa, what did you say? Like the whole concert stops. Everybody's
goes,
like, oh.
What the fuck? No, because they would have been singing along and they would have said, that's not fair.
Because that just slaps better. Anyway.
Speaking of Rihanna.
First of all, what are we? We're
fuck me. And we're live.
Okay. Rihanna. So yeah.
We really need to introduce ourselves at the beginning of the podcast.
Okay. This is my I'm willing to do this, but I need something in return.
Okay. Are we bargaining? This is a negotiation.
That's it.
Compromise.
I need a graphic that's going to have each of our names with our little logo and our Instagram handle,
Okay.
our personal Instagram handles.
Okay. I can make that.
So that way, when it's like, I'm Jessica, Rihanna, it's like beep, beep on the screen.
Okay.
That's what I need from you.
I can do that.
And then I'll stop bitching somewhat. Not completely, because I can't help it. So I'm Jessica.
And wait, which camera do we look?
I'm still Jessica, here and here.
And I am Anna, whether I'm here or here looking at the camera.
There we go.
All right, cool.
Rihanna. Segue immediately.
Y'all, we've been on one this morning. I walked in the door and Jessica said, we're talking about this and this and this, and that's what it's going to be. And I said, let's go.
The timer's gone.
Yeah.
So I guess before we get into Rihanna, I should probably explain my crisis.
Uh-huh.
I look very uncomfortable and constipated in the last few episodes. I wasn't constipated. I was uncomfortable. And the reason being is that I've just like, when we were audio, I move around so much. Like, I just am someone, I uncross my legs, I cross my legs. I'm just not someone who's ever fucking still.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when I got my MRI, it was probably one of the worst experiences of my fucking life. On my hand forever ago, which I think we talked about briefly forever ago. And, but on camera, I'm like, oh my God, will this bitch stop fucking twitching? Like, she's so fucking annoying talking about myself. So then I'm like, okay, I need to be fucking still. Because like literally you're still and this is me with my leg the whole time. The whole time.
Just bouncing.
Yeah. And if I don't do that, then I'm like, okay, I have to like do this situation. And then I'm like, be very still. Like, I just can't do it.
It's just like cannot move, frozen.
So you're talking to me and I'm not listening to anything. I don't know anything she said the past few episodes because all I'm thinking, I find out what she says when I fucking edit it. Because
you just black out.
Because I'm sitting here like, don't move. So I'm just I'm not paying any attention to you at all.
Oh, great.
And I'm sorry.
I feel great about that.
And literally I'm just like, and then I'm like, I know enough of what she said to try to give a small, it's so cringe. It's just so not the mood or vibe. So I had a crisis because I was like, what is the problem? Then the timer seemed like a great idea. I'm not doing it anymore. We're done with that. We're just going to have to like have common sense of how long we've been talking.
Okay.
And just look, because it's like, we can't enjoy and flesh out the topic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just over that because it's not fun.
Yeah. And we also typically have a list, like a laundry list of things we want to talk about. And get to, and then we just kind of end up speeding through some of them so we can hit them all.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of,
it's just whatever. I mean, at this point, I'm like, okay, I'll just like trim the fat. And because at first I was like, I don't have time. Well, I'm going to fucking make it because this is not the vibe anymore for me. But then I was like, I don't know, just super gross. I'm just so self-conscious, so self-whatever. I have no clue what happened to me. I just feel like the whole autopilot thing we were talking about where like I was barely present for that. I was on autopilot talking about being on autopilot. That's
so meta.
Oh my gosh.
But not Facebook meta, like meta, you know, like actual meta.
Yeah, actual
I don't know what the fuck
meta.
I just said. Okay, continue. Carry on.
So,
cut that. We're gonna.
I feel we're meta.
I don't know why I said cut that and it made the timeout symbol.
Cut that
because Rihanna and the Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh, I was going to ask, are we getting together for that? Do one of us need to buy it and watch it at my house and make dip? I don't care about football, but...
I don't either, but I love Rihanna.
Yeah, so me and Travis were talking about that because he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, he thinks football's so stupid. He's like, it's just a bunch of people running into each other and getting brain damage. Like, he just thinks it's so dumb. He just literally has never cared about football. Baseball, he loves, but football, lame. But then we talked about, I said, well, Travis... what about the commercials, which apparently came out before the Super Bowl?
Yeah, most of the time the commercials actually do come out. They put them out like on YouTube and stuff a couple days before the Super Bowl. But I feel like part of the fun of watching the Super Bowl is live tweeting or interacting with people and being able to like see them as they happen. Because then it's like part of the shared experience.
Exactly. Like I don't want them to be on YouTube. I want them to come out as the Super Bowl is going. Like, why are you so desperate for your validation? Can you just fucking wait for the Super Bowl to happen? Like that's like SNL saying, let me release all the fucking recorded skits I do before we're live. No.
Yeah.
You fucking dumb bitch. Stop. Canceled.
I think that it's fine to put them up obviously afterward because then when you're like, oh, do you remember that Super Bowl commercial? Whatever. Like you can pull it up then and watch it.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's fine. But then putting them out before, I'm kind of like...
it's fucking lame.
Yeah.
You're fucking lame and you ruined everything.
Is Super Bowl tonight? That is tonight,
yes, it's
right?
tonight.
Okay.
So then...
what time does it start?
I don't know.
I'm supposed to be doing dinner at my mom's house and I'm like... peace out. I'll eat and run because me and Jessica and Travis are going to watch
We're watching the Super Bowl to
halftime.
watch. It's to watch Rihanna.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the game usually starts at like 5 or 6, so the halftime show will be at like 7:30.
I don't know, and I have to figure out how to even do that. So I have to look at that when we're done. So
We should be able to stream it somewhere.
I feel like it. Yeah.
But between you and me, we have a streaming service that will be airing Super Bowl, I'm sure.
Somewhere. We're probably gonna have to pay for it or something stupid, but I don't fucking know. So anyway, yeah, I came in here and I hadn't even taken a fucking like pill yet, and I was like exposed. If you can find them, fucking can't get them anywhere anymore.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to reschedule. I have a doctor's appointment this week. I have to reschedule it because I haven't been able to get my prescription filled for like a month.
Literally, like,
and there's no point in me paying to go when I don't need to.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just was like, this is so like not fun. Like, it's not coming across as fun, and like wasn't into it.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of thoughts, and then decided I'm getting rid of this and I'm getting rid of that, and I'm just over it, and that's it. So I also kind of feel like, you know how we're like we've talked about being in a simulation. I'm like, maybe my person just walked away
from your.
So
you're
was
just a sim that's like burning down the house while you're away from the computer, and you come back and you're like, Patricia, what the fuck?
Help me.
And then you're crying. Like we talked about, you're crying, everything's on fire, someone's pregnant. Like, don't put that on me. Don't you put that evil on me.
So,
I've said that so many times recently since I rewatched that movie.
It's a hard life once you kind of rewatch those movies, because you're like, oh, I've quoted it every day. And then the people that don't get it, you're just like, you lose respect for. You're like, wow, you really are a fucking like pleb. Like a plain old.
Is it plebe?
That doesn't sound as insulting.
Well, is it short for plebeian?
No.
I don't know how to say words.
I don't know what it's short for. That's just like an insult.
Okay.
Oh, I heard, what was I going to say? I heard another insult the other day that Travis told me about. Have you ever heard like in a song someone be called like a mark?
I've heard of a mark in like assassination terms or something.
Basically,
like you're going after, like that's the mark, that's the person we're going after.
Yeah, a mark is like, if you're called a mark, a lot of times it's basically talking about how you're so gullible and easy to take advantage of that you have a target on your back.
Okay, yeah.
And oftentimes it's used like Dre, one of his songs, he had said, you thought I was a mark because I hung out with, or because I was with Easy, like Easy-E, like when they were NWA together. That's not like the actual fucking line, but basically he's like, you thought I was a mark because I hung out with him. And the reason he said that is because, do you know any of that?
No.
Easy. So NWA.
Yes.
Dre, Ice Cube.
Straight Outta Compton.
Easy-E.
Yes.
Oh, fuck. What's the other? There's like two more.
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. Canceled. Ren. And then there's one more. I always forget his name, though. Anyway. Sorry.
I know of them. I don't know that I've heard a full song. I just know the Straight Outta Compton. Fuck the police. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, the point is they were all in that group together, and then they all ended up like not being in the group together, and there was a bunch of like, you know, bad feelings and stuff. And he was saying that about Eazy-E because a lot of people at the time, or maybe even still, felt that Eazy-E was taken advantage of by their manager, Jerry. And so that was where that, and I didn't know that. Travis had asked me, we were on the way home yesterday listening to music, and he's like, do you know what a mark is? And I was like, I mean, what do you mean?
Maybe, but tell me what your definition is first.
Yeah, I mean, I might, but like, you tell me and
I'll tell you if you're right.
And then, yeah. So then I pulled a U and I actually looked it up to make sure, like not to make sure because I knew he was right, but to kind of be like, where does that come from? So anyway, that's kind of what that means. So trivia.
The more you know. Ding.
Yeah. Okay, you can talk now.
Oh,
your
turn.
Is
it my turn? Thanks.
For now.
So what are we talking about next? Because I asked you before we started recording, and you were like, "We're just gonna talk."
Okay.
So I'm bringing up all the drama in front of everyone.
Yeah, basically, it was like, well, what do we want to talk about first? And I was like, let's just talk. And she's like, why? But you're the one, me. She's pointing out you're the one that's always like, we need an abstract. And I was like, I get it. That's why, like, I'm like, there's a problem here.
So everything out the window.
Yeah, it's full-blown fucking chaos. So I hope you're ready for it. Because we're surely not. So I don't know if you noticed the board over there.
Our signboard.
Yes.
Over one of my shoulders. Is it this one?
It's that one, yeah.
Hello.
Okay, so
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me.
Okay, so that's enough of that, whatever the fuck that was.
I don't know.
So basically, I manifested Toy Story 5, and we're going to tell you why. First, I've been talking a lot.
That's okay.
So
you're making up for when you were on autopilot for the
what
past,
I was just like
month.
Okay, so before we get into how I manifested Toy Story 5, I feel like I need to explain to everybody this thing. And so people understand my connection to Toy Story 5 and probably why it was possible
Okay.
that I manifested it. So Toy Story in general is like one of my favorite Pixar movies ever. It was also like one of the first ones there it was.
Don't you have like a Woody and Buzz?
I have a Woody and Buzz out. Yeah, I'll put a picture up. Literally on my desk. Like
they're like the big.
Yes, like they're like the big ones. Like kind of sort of to scale. They're not the ones I wanted. They're hard to find, like the actual replica ones. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to like get it all like basically specially made,
custom.
Fuck. I was like
words.
So I'm gonna have to get it custom made. I've already looked at that, and yes, I've already priced it out, and I will be doing it one day. But the point is, like watching Toy Story as a kid, I'm someone who like everything can have an emotion once I'm attached to it. I'm like, no, I can't get rid of it. It has emotion. What if it's like, why'd you get rid of me? And I know it's an object, but Toy Story is like, how you can't prove that you don't have feelings technically.
So you're saying that it's hard sometimes once you have attached some sort of meaningful emotion or experience to an object that is not sentient, then you are like, it's going to hurt its feelings if I get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you can't prove.
Didn't Garrett do a video about this? Shane's used to be friend or whatever?
Probably.
He did a video about that where he was like, I'm a hoarder because he like attaches.
Is that when is that the episode when Shane and them came over at the time?
Yeah, to help him try and like clean out his house and stuff. But he attaches like, he was like, no, but it's going to hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
And they're like, everybody's like,
but
okay.
Shane's like, no. I literally miss that era so much. Like, holy fuck. It was just some of the peak of, oh my gosh. Okay, so that being said, I have had this Vegeta figurine.
Put your hand behind it.
I have had this Vegeta since I was like, I mean, we'll say 6 to 8. I can't recall the exact
Very
time.
tiny child.
Yes. And
like 20 years.
Yeah, at the very least 20 years at this point. I could not tell you the first time I ever saw Dragon Ball Z. Like literally, I don't have a memory of I don't have a memory of seeing it for the first time. It was always there, and I always liked Vegeta. I don't have a memory of being like, I picked that one. It just was. And so my mom had got me this, and I moved so much as a kid. But like this thing is like my bestie. Like it's been everywhere that I've been through. It's the longest thing I've ever owned. I always made sure I had it everywhere. I mean, to this day, I take him everywhere. Like he's in my purse. And if it's to the point that it's a joke now at the paintball field, some of our friends will be like, you got him? And then he'll be in my pocket, and they're like, okay, good. Because if you don't and we lose, canceled.
Yeah. It's your fault.
Yeah, it's just become that. I mean, I've even taken like if we travel, like he's what I take pictures of to share like what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of those things that like the idea of something happening to it, I literally would I would have an actual mental breakdown. Because like, I don't know. And it's like part of it is like I blame Toy Story for making me think it has feelings. And then I felt bad calling it has feelings just now. I'm like, I'm so sorry about you. Because it's just like, no, I'm so attached to it. Like no one can tell me otherwise. So that being said, hold on. And that's why he has his own chair. Okay, like there's a story about how much this, like everybody knows this is a big deal in my life. We had a friend who like paints figurines. And I always wanted to get him repainted because he's like old as fuck.
Mm-hmm. He needs a little touch up.
He's been well loved.
Yes.
So he had a lot of slutty Bratz girlfriends, a lot of Barbie girlfriends. He liked the Bratz dolls more because they were sluts. So
with their big lips and big eyeballs. Do you think that Bratz dolls are the reason so many people, like so many women, get lip injections and filler and
No,
stuff
it's
now?
Kylie Jenner. So sorry.
Was she inspired by a Bratz doll? She kind of looks like a Bratz doll.
I don't know.
She tell me she don't look like Jade.
So
Tell me she don't look like Jade.
we'll investigate. So we had a friend who they lived in Warner Robins. And so in Warner Robins, it's like an hour and a half-ish away now. The construction on that fucking interstate's done. And anyway, he had him for like 2 months. And then he was like moving though. And we had went up there to visit because he was staying with one of our other friends. So basically we were visiting our other friend and he was not there. And he was in the process of moving out. And then I was like, oh, okay.
But and he had your figure.
He had my figure. So he had him for like 2 months.
To repaint.
To repaint. And he hadn't done it yet, which I was like, okay, whatever. But he's moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And we were leaving our friend's house and the friend, Pete, was not there, who was going to be repainting him. And I was like, okay, whatever. And we left. And we're on the interstate, not just down the road. We're on the interstate. And I start to just panic. And I'm like, what if he loses? Travis is driving. This was years ago. And I was like, what if he loses him? Like, what if something happens? Like, people lose shit in moves if he hasn't. What if something happens? And I was already having an extremely hard time that I had let anybody ever take my action figure. Because fuck that shit. It literally was the worst thing ever. Like, I was like, I would like check in on it.
It's like, no, we need to have a designated day and time. I will come there. I will bring it to you. And then I'm going to sit there
And
while you
watch.
work on him. And then I'm going to take him home the same day.
Yes. So I'm sitting here just like, oh God. And Travis goes, do you want me to turn around and we'll just go get him? I mean, that way nothing happens to him. And I was like, yes. And so we were already like a few miles down the interstate. So we still had to get off the interstate and then drive all the way to their house. That's how big of a deal it is that Travis was like,
this is not going to end well.
We're just going to go get him. So nothing happens. So that's how big of a deal this action figure is. And I blame Toy Story. It's your fucking fault. It really is.
So last week,
yes,
this was after we had finished recording.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about, I don't even know how we got on the subject of Toy Story.
It was because I was like talking, I think because we were in my office and you saw the figures and you were like, look, this Woody, you just were kind of pointing out that I have a Woody and Buzz.
Was that what it was? Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, it was after we had recorded and we were in your office and working on clips and editing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started talking about Toy Story and you said, you know what? I didn't love Toy Story 4.
I didn't.
I didn't like the direction it went. Like, it was fine for like whatever, but it just didn't feel very like Toy Story. Like the whole like central meaning of like the first 2, 3 movies. And so then you were like, if they ever, which I don't think they will, if they ever did a Toy Story 5, this is how they fix it. Like, listen, I know how to fix it. This is how they do it. So how do they fix Toy Story?
Okay. Since you guys are doing it, because I manifested it, this is how you have to fix it. And it's okay that technically this is a huge spoiler if they were to listen to me. My idea is that, so if you haven't seen Toy Story 4, then just...
Which I have not, but I know the major plot points.
Yeah. So if you haven't, just, if you don't want to know, then just skip ahead. And then just get to where we're talking about something else. But basically in Toy Story 4, all of Andy's toys, they belong to Bonnie, which that happened in Toy Story 3 at the end. And Woody's having a very difficult time with that. I mean, he was very attached to Andy, which is... added to my clear issue with giving anything away. The fact that they could even miss somebody. Woody's not happy. He's not happy being Bonnie's toy. He wants to be with Andy. And he even says something that's so fucked up. He's like, they just grow up and they see the world without you.
Aww.
That take him everywhere.
I mean,
it's so fucking sad.
But that's kind of the nature of, those toys are representative of childhood. As you grow up, you do leave childhood behind. And then you start to, like, the person that you were then doesn't ever get to experience the world with you now because you're different.
Yeah.
So it's like a different version of yourself that you're leaving behind. But
it's just crazy to me because none of the other toys have that grieving period where Woody just really can't get over it. And so Woody eventually... becomes a lost toy with Bo Peep, and he's just kind of like, I'm ready to just move on to a different part of being a toy. And so here's my thing though. This is how I would fix it. And that was basically how it was left off.
So when the lost toy concept is like they kind of just float, they're like wanderers. They just kind of end up on playgrounds and in different places. And if kids happen to pick them up and play with them for a short amount of time, then leave them, like that's fine. That's Woody's trauma. He's doing that because he was so attached to Andy, and then Andy left him behind. He's like, I never need to spend that much time with any one child and be their toy again. Because I don't want that to develop that attachment, because then once they leave, I'm going to be devastated again.
Yeah. And I'm like, they don't try to paint it that way.
But that's what it is. He's traumatized.
Exactly. Like they're trying to paint it like, oh, Woody's happy going on to his next stage of his life. No, Woody is heartbroken. How dare you, Andy? How dare you? Like, what the fuck? You fucking asshole. Anyway, so I would fix it by, and this is what I told her. Toy Story 5 had not been announced. And I've been saying this for a long time, how I would have fixed it, by the way. So I'm like, okay, this is what I would do. Toy Story 5 has to be about Bonnie's grown up. She's like 18. She's about to go off to college, whatever. And she's getting rid of her toys. And somehow you have to get Woody reunited with the gang. You have to somehow, him and Bo Peep, they need to find out somehow, some way that the toys are being sold, because the idea that
there's another garage sale like there was in Toy Story 2.
Yes. Or really when because for some reason, I don't remember how Bonnie ended up. I know Andy gave them to her though. So, but yeah.
She was one of the kids at the daycare, I think. Yeah. That they originally like had donated the toys to or something.
And so pretty much,
but I do like the idea of it being like, of it echoing Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
Because it's the circle of life, sort of the cycle of like, it's normal that this happens and it happens regularly. Like, I like that it's a reflection of that.
So they're going to they have a garage sale like they did in the second movie. And Woody's idea, I think, would be, we need to go get our friends and convince them to be lost toys with us. That's what his goal is going to be before they end up with somebody else, because Woody does have like attachment, like not issues, but he's just a toy that's very attached. So, he's going to be attached to his friends. So somehow him and Bo Peep are going to they find out somehow, I don't know how, that's your job, and Pixar, and they need to figure out, the movie needs to be about them somehow getting back to their friends. And there needs to be a side story going on of this little boy who we've never met before, just kind of living his life, playing with toys. He's like the new Andy. He might even have toys that he does have, like play with. It's very like Toy Story 1, not connected whatsoever to Woody's journey. And he has a dad or whatever that we barely see, just like we barely saw the mom, right? And so y'all need to figure out how to make it to where Bonnie's name is not on Woody's foot anymore and Andy's is back. I don't know how, but you need to figure it out. It's your job. That needs to happen somehow, some way in the movie. Otherwise, it's not going to, the whole impactful thing isn't going to be as impactful because you can't say Bonnie.
Well, if Woody's been traveling so much as a lost toy, I mean, because in Toy Story 2, when the toy collector gets him and cleans him up and stuff, part of what he does is paints over the sole of his boot. So like that marker is just covered up with paint. So, I mean, if it's just been painted over and markered over, eventually that would wear away.
Andy wrote it again, though.
Yeah.
So I think he wrote Andy again over it. So, I mean, somehow, some way, y'all can figure out how the fuck his boot can... It's fiction.
Yeah. He's been walking a lot as a wandering lost toy.
So it says Andy, or at least a little bit. You can tell it's supposed... Maybe it's somehow mixed in there, but you can see Andy on his boot again. So the whole thing of the movie needs to be at the very, very end. The garage sale's happening. And Woody runs up, him and Bo Peep run up into the box that their friends are in. And they're like, hey, we got to go. We got to do this. We got to do that. And maybe there's a whole, little commotion there. The drama. Until finally, all of a sudden, they fall in the box somehow because, a kid's walking up and they got to play Toy Dead. And the little boy opens it and he pulls out Woody. And it's the little boy, that we've been following that is basically reminiscent to Andy in the first movie. He goes to this garage sale. And when he opens the box, he picks up Woody and he's kind of looking at it. And then his dad walks up and he's like, oh, wow, those were so popular when I was a kid. And the kid's like, oh, really? He goes, yeah. And then he grabs the toy. And he's like, yeah, I had one of these growing up. And on the boot, I had written my name. And when he turns up the boot, it's it says Andy, and Andy's like, it's his dad's Andy, duh. And
well, the kid needs to pick up. Oh, here's better. I have a better. Oh,
canceled.
I got excited. No, so you know how in the first movie, like the reason that Woody is Andy's favorite is because Andy is obsessed with like being a cowboy and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the little kid needs to be obsessed with like planets and astronauts. And so
That's fair.
When they go to the garage sale, he picks up Buzz. And because Buzz was super popular, and that was the whole conflict of like the first Toy Story, right? Because Andy gets the new toy. So then when the kid picks up Buzz, he's like, oh my gosh, it's an astronaut.
Yeah.
And then the dad, Andy, is like, these were so popular when I was a kid, but I used to have one of these and I remember when they came out or whatever. And then he's like, what other, goodies do they have in this box? Or, I wonder if they have any other, I also, or something to that effect of like, I wonder what else good is in this box. And then he looks in there and he's like, I used to have and then he pulls up Woody and he's like, no, can't be.
He's like, I had one. I had one of these too.
This was my actual, like, one of my favorites, and this is my first, like, best friend or whatever. And then, then he looks at this.
Sidebar: I'm aware that Andy would know that was Bonnie's house if it was the same house. So they've moved. It's a different house because otherwise it's just like, well, duh.
Mm-hmm.
So Bonnie and her family moved, okay? Because otherwise it's not. It's just like, well, duh. Those are your toys. So and he doesn't know it's Bonnie's garage sale. So duh. Just putting that in there. I know that. Mm-hmm. Pixar, it's your job. Figure it out. So, yes. So then he has the moment and he turns up the boot and he sees his fucking name and that's when the audience,
then you see you can see his face as he's like.
Yes, because the whole time you didn't see his face, like, because we never saw Andy's mom's face really. Or if we did, it was super quick if we ever did. So that's when we're like, holy fuck, that's Andy, which I don't give a fuck if it's obvious. It's what we want.
Yeah.
We don't need fucking complicated stories. We don't need anything new. What we want is Woody and his fucking friends reunited with Andy. And the only way for that to be is if Andy's kid plays with those fucking toys. So then, as he realizes that's Woody, you've got a friend and me playing.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be like a more, and it needs to be slower. It almost needs to be like memory-ish at first. Because it needs to be Andy thinking about how he played with them as kids. And it's going to be so emotional. It's going to be so emotional. And then they buy all the fucking toys, all of them, Mr. Potato Head and all, and the pig, and the dinosaur, and Slinky, and the RC car, all of them.
And the pig.
Everybody but Forky. Trash. He said it himself. That's not Andy's toy. I'm trash. I'm garbage. I love Forky. That shit was funny as fuck. But that's Bonnie's Woody. She needs to keep him. Keep your trash. So then the memory morphs and we see, Andy as a kid, of course, playing with Woody, and then it transitions into his son playing with all the toys, and he's playing with his kid, so he's able to play with his toys again in a way that's accepted and not weird. And so he's able to like really connect with that inner child again, because like you said, we grow up and it's weird if we're just like, what up? Like it's weird. You can't do that. You have to find ways to integrate them in your life, which is what this is all I know how to do.
And that is it further complements the like theme of like toys in your childhood and how they're representative of that and how they do come in and out of your life. Because part of like the joy of like playing with toys in childhood and then you grow up and you're kind of like, I'm done with that. It's like part of that cycle is the nostalgia when you get older of like remembering, when you were younger and the joy you had playing with those toys, and then being able to take the joy that you got from that and then pass it on to your child and help make their childhood, with the happiness that you remember yours being. And it all is a cycle.
And it's like a way to heal your inner child, because so much of us, I mean, that's something that is always brought up, like your inner child. And so I'm like, that's how you end Toy Story. And it can be done. It can be over with. And if you want to if there needs to be future Toy Stories after this, just do brand fucking new shit without any of our old characters if you're going to go that route. But to end our Toy Story, it needs to be Woody and his friends reuniting with Andy as an adult so he can play with all his toys again with his children or his kid. Whatever. Like, that's how you fix this shit, because right now it's so out of touch with the original films. Like, the scheme, they're in carnivals, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like, there's all this shit that's so out of touch to where it was a kid in his room playing with his toys, and the magic was that the toys were alive and had feelings, and you need to bring it back to that in order to wrap it up and full circle it.
It's one of the other themes of Toy Story, or the main, I guess, components of it, is when you can build these big worlds in your imagination, but in a confined space just with these toys. Like, that's what it is. It's not like we don't need to go outside into these different places on this big whirlwind adventure in order to tell the story and have these big, this big sort of thing. Like,
you need to bring it back to your basics.
Yes.
It needs to be about, the whole idea was, I can be in my room, but I could be in space, or I could be in the wild, wild west. And that's what you have to bring it back to. You have to scale it the fuck down and bring the magic back.
You know, I find that with a lot of big series, or big sort of like not series, but like the franchises, that's the word. A lot of these big franchises, that's part of the problem, is that the magic a lot of the time in the story is when it's smaller in scope, right? It's a smaller group of people. It's a smaller world. It's like a slice of life. You bring the story in, and it's very intimate. And then obviously, naturally, as you do more and more movies, you have to build it out and make it bigger in scope, more encompassing, more characters, bigger world. You know, we keep topping the last one. But like, the mistake is that they just keep trying to do that. And when you keep going out, it's so hard to keep topping it that way. And then you lose the magic of what made the original, like the first one, so epic and special. Like, I mean, you can look at Fast and Furious, you know, like how it's, they're like cars in space. Like, what? So
literally.
And then when you go back to the first Fast and Furious movie, it's about this small community of people in this underground sort of like culture, right, of street racing.
Exactly.
And it just got too big and too much. And it strayed away from what people really loved about the original. And I think that too often that's the problem, is that they stray too far from that. It's okay, because as you're building a world, you have to get bigger, but like, you always at some point have to scale back down and bring it back home.
100%. And I'm like, to me, that would be the perfect way to end it. And I could see it coming, and I would be so happy. Like, that's okay.
I would cry.
I'm telling Anna this, and my office, she goes,
literally, when she was manifesting this, and she's like, and then Andy picks up the toy, and I'm immediately like, my eyes are watering, and I'm just like, stop it, stop, I'm gonna cry. I'm also a very easy crier though, so
something about I don't know. That's how it needs to happen. Please God, nobody wants to see Woody on his adventures with Bo Peep. I'm sorry, we don't want to see it. I know what y'all were trying to do, but stop. Canceled. Like, stop it. Just bring it back to what we want and end it. It's okay.
Do you know what would be cool is when you were saying, new toys, new adventures, like, get away from Woody and Buzz if you're going to do more Toy Story stuff, like tell other toys stories. I was thinking about in Toy Story 2 it's 2 when they go to the toy store, right? And then so you get to see that's where we're introduced to Barbie and funny. Ken and all the other toys in the store, right? You need to make a movie about that, because that is super interesting. Because again, you're confined to this one store, this one or two aisles in the store, whether, or do like how Toys R Us went out of business. Oh my God. I get Pixar. You're welcome. You do. The toy store is going out of business because all the toys are stored online or sold online.
We're available if you want to hire us.
And so you tell the story of how the toys in the store become aware that it's going out of business and they're losing all their friends. And they're trying to like save the toy store and be like, no, this is magical and kids need us. But then you also, so you can kind of keep it still small in that one store. There's a goal that they're trying to save the store, but then you still get to do that world building with imagination, where like in Toy Story 2, there was, let's go over to the Barbie aisle, and it's all like girls in bikinis and hot tubs and the Barbie mansion. And
guys, you can because Bratz are back. You could literally do Barbie and Bratz and have them like not like each other, but then eventually like each other. Oh my god, it'd be so fucking fun. It'd be so fucking fun. So it's just it'd be perfect. But it's like, I was like,
I like the idea of doing it like that story, but then like it's in the vein of like that Sausage Party movie where it was like not like actually like that movie in terms of like the jokes or the humor or the storyline.
Why did you just put that in the same even vicinity?
Because they made all the like food sentient, and then it does tell the story of like the life cycle of these foods when they're at the grocery store, and then they go into someone's home, and then the carrots end up getting eaten.
Yeah.
But like, so that sort of, I guess, vein.
Which is, so speaking of that, because I mean, there'd be so many interesting things of where it's like you have the same toy, then you have a kid walk up and he grabs this, or he grabs like this Buzz Lightyear or whatever toy at the time, and then he's like, for some reason he puts that one down and picks up the one next to it, which looks the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, literally, this is Toy Story again, trauma from Toy Story. My Woody and Buzz story, but that's at my desk, right? We were in Walmart, and there they were. Me and Travis were like, we have to get them. Because I wasn't alone in that. He was very much like, let's get a Woody and a Buzz. And so I pick up a Woody and I'm like, I don't need to get this. This is crazy. But I picked him up, right? I touched the box. I picked him up and then I put him down, and I swear to God, we're walking away, and I went, oh my gosh, isn't that fucked up? Like the poor toy's probably like, I'm about to finally be bought. And then I put it down, and then he's like, well, we have to go back and get that one then. So then we literally stood there and we had to sit there and reenact the whole thing so we could, and we did in fact get the one we originally picked up, because that's fucked up if you pick up the other one. It's so, you guys fucked us up so bad psychologically that if you don't make Woody go back with Andy, I swear to God, I'm going to be so upset. And so everyone else will too. Can you just listen? Just listen. This is what we want.
We're telling you what we want. We are your target demo.
Yeah, you are. You're not trying to fucking get this. You don't care if a 10-year-old sees it. You want me to see it, okay? That's the fucking truth. Like, who gives a fuck if 10-year-olds like it? Pixar's for me. And if 10-year-olds happen to like it or younger, great. But even then, they would enjoy that a lot more than, oh yeah, let's go to a fair and Woody's on a fucking cruise ship. Nobody fucking wants that shit. Don't do it.
Ooh, or another toys story. You know how I've watched the series, the movie, is it The Movies That Made Us, or like the cartoons that made us on Netflix, where they talk about like retro, like TV shows and cartoons and stuff, and how they kind of came to be and the influence they had and stuff.
Yeah.
So you tell the story of like majority of like cartoons that we love from our childhood, and even like from our parents' childhoods, they were created to sell toys.
Yeah.
So they have the idea for the toy, and then they create the cartoon to sell the toy. So they should tell the story of like, the toys have to go through these different like processes of development.
Yeah.
So you have like the different like stages of the toys being built that like they stay there in the office or whatever workshop they're in. So you have some of these are like half-made toys or toys with different modifications that didn't quite make it out to production. And so you could tell the story of how like you've got the perfect, the end product that actually gets sold, and they're the one. But then you have all these others that are like the versions before it that were the prototype.
I'm sad. No one bought them because they couldn't.
Yeah.
So guys, that is how, first of all, I totally manifested Toy Story 5. Literally. And that is what you've got to do. Please, God, Pixar. Just do that. That's what people want to see. I promise.
Be prepared that when Toy Story 5 comes out, we will go watch it and we will do a review.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Just like we're going to do a review of Scream 6, which I keep seeing posters for. I really like the posters.
I do too. They look really good.
Mm-hmm.
That comes out in March, so we need to go and buy our tickets.
Yes.
Make sure we sit where we sat before, so in case somebody ever decides they want to be a ghost face and try to kill us, we can just run out the exit really quick.
Correct.
Yeah, we think about stuff like that. The other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was...
But you're kind of hesitant to talk about.
Is Hogwarts Legacy. I love that shit. I'm sorry. If y'all don't want to leave me a hate comment, that's cool. It's fun as fuck. It's so fucking beautiful. And it's the amount of detail that's went into this game is like, it's just amazing to see.
I did see someone that I'm friends with on Facebook. They were talking about it, and they shared like a screenshot where you can like design your character basically of what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that actually like the black characters, like the skin and the hair and stuff, and they said that they actually really enjoyed it because the person that was talking about it was black. And or is.
Could you imagine it was just a white person going, I really enjoyed
But she was basically saying like other games I've played where you can have like you can make your avatar black, it just wasn't quite right, like the skin or the hair, there was something about it that just they never quite got it right. And she was like, these look really good. And it's actually really nice that to have that option to like make your avatar look like you.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just been so much fun, and it really is just, even people that they're not into video games, if you were into Harry Potter or, you know, are into Harry Potter and you really enjoy the world, I think that you would enjoy it. I think you would enjoy it. I mean, it's just a game that is, you really get to experience the world of Hogwarts. This is the closest you're ever going to get in just the Harry Potter world as a person experiencing it. And it's not about Harry or any of those things. You know, it's like this takes place hundreds of years before, from my understanding. And so it's just, you're able to experience this as like a student, and then, you know, you get to have a career after. I mean, the game is huge, so it's like you start off.
It's a full like role player.
Like it's an RPG, which I've seen some people try to get all technical with it, but I mean, I could see the argument for like an action adventure. I mean, it's kind of, sometimes those things cross over a lot.
I was gonna ask, is it like story based in that there's a lot of, I'm not a video gamer at all, but a lot of video games that I've seen, it's like you're the character. You can have some choice in what you do and what you look like and stuff like that. But at the end of the game is based around a specific plot line or like a storyline where it's like these things are going to happen. How you respond to them may change certain aspects, but the major beats are the same.
There's going to be major beats, of course. I mean, so far, I think that the more you get into it, the more there's probably how you decide to react to things will dictate how the story goes, at least from my understanding. But of course, there are some things that are just going to happen, but how you respond to them will probably decide which direction. I mean, some people, you know, you might be a really nice wizard, you might be a dark wizard. I mean, that's the thing, is you get to have that option of whether you're going to be good or evil, or how, and
the role that you play in that story.
Yes.
Okay,
and so
that's so much.
I mean, it's literally,
that's overwhelming to think about, like all the different options that.
Yes.
I don't like.
No.
Listen, I don't like too many options.
But the thing is,
I get overwhelmed.
But see, even then, like the way that they've like laid out the structure of the game, I mean, it's just amazing. And there's so many side quests you get to pick here. I mean, and yes, there's like a test to be in like that. The Sorting Hat's like, oh, you'll be in this house, but you can just pick it if you're not happy. And it really is just amazing. And of course, it's nostalgic in a way, but you're also like, wow, I get to experience this in such a brand new way. And it's like, you know, it's really enjoyable. I love it. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not even going to talk about
anything
whatever controversies I've seen. I'm just enjoying the game, and that's all I'm going to do.
Okay, so Leonardo DiCaprio.
He's a fucking king.
He's 49, and he is rumored to be dating a 19-year-old.
Yes.
Lots of people online are saying ew, gross.
That's fine. They can say that. I don't agree with the sexual predator thing, though.
No.
I think that's a step too far. Y'all need to chill the fuck out. I mean, it'd be different if she was underage and then he like basically groomed her and then he started dating her. But Leo don't do that. Leo just gets with them when they're already of age. He's not doing that. And I think that in a way I would find it more gross if he had kids. If he had kids that were the same age or older or closer in age to his significant other, then it's gross. But he doesn't have kids. And whatever. I mean, I also think, okay, well, you're also now telling her that, you know, I understand that, you know, we're trying to be very aware of like past behaviors people have done that are not okay.
I think that we are much more aware of these scenarios, that they can happen and they do happen. I think that a lot of people have good intentions in terms of like they want to make sure that women, especially young women, are protected.
Yeah.
And that they're aware that men could be, you know, older men could be, you know, the grooming thing or taking advantage or whatever.
Yeah.
I understand that. I don't think it's coming from a bad place.
No.
But I do think that it's overboard when you're saying he's a predator because he's dating a 19-year-old. I think that you're infantilizing a grown woman. I think you're taking away her agency and her ability to decide what she wants to do with her life and her body and her relationships.
Exactly.
Which I think is weird. Because we do have this habit of putting this persona onto women that they're weak and need to be protected, and that they are, infantilizing is the only thing I can think of to describe it properly. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, in certain circumstances, think that way. Of course, we want women to be safe. Of course, we want to protect them. But at the end of the day, you also have to understand that at a certain point, like, people are responsible for their own actions and own decisions and choices.
Yes.
And you can't take that agency away from them just because you think it's kind of creepy or kind of gross. Like, take
Yeah.
your own prejudices and what you think of, like, if you don't want to have a 30-year age gap between you and the person you're dating, fine, don't do it.
Yeah.
But like, don't put your whatever ick onto someone else that's perfectly content and happy with what they're doing.
Exactly. Because at that point, it's like, you know, yeah, pretty much everything you said. Because it's just like, now what Billy Ray Cyrus did, canceled. Gross.
Oh, because wasn't it one of Miley's backup dancers?
It
or
was
something?
somebody that,
Or-
from my understanding, it was a girl that was either on Hannah Montana or was a backup dancer or something. And then he knew her when she was like a child. And I don't think they had any communication the whole time she grew up. Well, you know, outside of that. But either way, it's weird to me that you knew someone when they were 12, 13, however old,
Mhm.
and is the same age or younger than Miley, and I think closer in age to Noah, and now you're dating her. That's weird. Like, that's a completely different scenario and is super fucking weird than Leo dating younger women. It's not the same. He doesn't have any fucking kids. The second, that's where I'm like, that's weird. Like,
Mhm.
that's really weird.
Because also, and the reason that it's weird is because when someone has kids and then they do date someone that is around their kid's age, the reason it's weird is because you know, like, what I guess the mindset is of someone that's that age. And so you have a frame of reference for you having a relationship with someone who's that age. You know,
Yeah.
it's a father-daughter relationship. But it's weird.
It's ick.
Yeah. And I don't think it's as ick if he hadn't have met her or there wasn't that connection. She didn't have that
Yes.
connection to his daughter and he hadn't have met her when she was younger.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as ick, but
There is an
But it's still
element
gross.
of ick later on that again, if they're two consenting adults,
yeah.
fine.
Well, oh yeah. I mean, you know, that's something even Modern Family jokes about and explores because Claire's dad marries Gloria and she's like closer in age to Claire than she is to the dad. But
Mhm.
that's like also like that's the case, but it's not as ick because they didn't know each other. Or, you know,
Mhm.
there's a whole thing there. And so I'm like, with Leo, people just there's been this whole thing about like canceling Hollywood men.
Mhm.
And while a lot of that was deserved, not every single person is in that same box. I don't think Leo's a fucking creep because he's dating younger women. I think, you know what?
I think he's rich and successful and women are attracted to that. And if he's attracted to younger women,
Whatever. And if people want to get into what does that say about society, what does that say about anything? I'm like, listen, I think at the end of the day, they're consenting adults. Like you said, you're taking away their agency the second you act like they're infants and they are unable to make decisions on their own. Like, no, they are able to make decisions on their own. And you do have a level of responsibility yourself to decide whether or not you want to participate in that relationship.
and I think that people who are critical of the relationship, there is often the criticism, you know, he needs to date someone who's closer to his age because that they have, I guess, more in common life experience. They're in similar places in their life. But I mean, he's single, never been married, has no children. What and he's a, you know, A-list movie star. He goes out and parties from what I understand.
Yeah.
And you know, still out in the club, stuff like that. So like, why wouldn't you think he would have a similar sort of choice of lifestyle to someone who is younger versus a woman who is also, you know, 49, close to 50? You know,
Yeah.
why wouldn't
And it's also
and then I do think that there is an element of jealousy at play
100%.
because I think a lot of the criticism is coming from women, from
Yes.
other women. I don't see it as much from men. Most other
Mhm.
men are like, get it, dude. Like,
Whatever.
live your life. I see it coming from a lot from women saying you need to date women who are closer to your, you know, he needs to date women who are closer in age to him. I think that there's an element of jealousy at play because if you're a woman who is not 19 and you are like,
Leo wouldn't be interested in me.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's that element of why does he have to go after somebody who's younger and thinner and prettier and more youthful and doesn't have wrinkles and all this stuff?
I can't have him, so no one should be able to have him.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. It is super odd. And it's like,
it's like, well, why can't he be? And then they go into this whole like, we don't value women once they get past a certain age because they're old, and we only value them when they're young and sexy and capable of breeding.
Who knew Leo was the only person that determined that too?
Yeah.
Like,
and so it's this whole weird sort of jealousy mixed with like, I have my own insecurities about getting older sort of complex that I find to be gross.
Yeah, it's weird. And it's just like, we're getting to a place where it's like, not everything is a philosophical conversation of society. He's dating younger women who are of the legal consenting age. Leave him the fuck alone. He's not hurting anybody. And what the funny part is, I don't think I've ever heard of any story of those girls talking about any kind of like, I was in an abusive. I think they all just have from my understanding. I mean, if those stories have come out, I have not seen them. It seems like they just have a good time while it lasts, and then they just are like,
and
okay,
move on.
And move on, And I think that's fine.
And he also does have long-term relationships. Like,
he says, you're 25, we're over.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Most of them,
Canceled.
He meets them when they're in their early 20s, and they hit 25, and then boom.
And that's the pattern, so what you're signing up for. Like,
so he may, or if he is dating this 19-year-old, there's a chance that they could be together for 6 years.
He's a serial monogamist with younger women. I'm just like, listen, at the end of the day, he's not doing anything wrong. He's living his life, and y'all just need to get a fucking life and quit being so chronically online.
Yeah.
Get a real persona. But my battery's about to die, so we have to head out here. So
I feel like this was a good episode.
I feel like it was, but we have to literally wrap it up. It's gonna die.
Okay, right now. So hit subscribe, like, comment, share, tell your friends in person, bully them, make them subscribe. Be like, hey, I listen to this cool podcast. You should subscribe. And they're like, oh, I'll do it later. No, tell them, whip out your phone, pull up Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell.
Yes, everywhere. We upload audio on Mondays and video on Tuesday. So hit the notification bell on all platforms. And we haven't figured out our giveaway yet, but we will. So
we're just going to keep saying that at the end of every episode until we do it.
Yeah, guys, that is it. And we will see you and talk at you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye. Pixar, hire us. Thank you.